learned the truth from a gold-embossed invitation that did not have my name on it. While my family prepared to celebrate love, history, and loyalty, I was quietly erased. They thought silence would break me. They never imagined it would awaken something unstoppable inside me. Please take a moment to subscribe to Nillavoices, where unheard stories finally find a voice. Your support keeps these stories alive, and your presence here truly matters. My name is Victoria, and I learned how disposable I was to my own family on a quiet Tuesday evening when my phone vibrated in my hand. "Oh, you have to see this," my coworker Emily said casually, leaning over my desk. "Your sister posted something beautiful." "My sister?" I asked, already feeling a strange tightness growing in my chest. Emily turned the screen toward me. There it was, a photograph of an ivory-colored invitation, gold lettering shining softly under warm lighting, celebrating 30 years of love. "Private family event." I stared at it longer than I should have. "That is my parents' anniversary," I whispered. Emily frowned. "You did not know?" "No," I said slowly, "I was not told." Later that evening, when I returned to my apartment, the silence felt heavier than usual. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was the sound of mail sliding through the slot in my door. I bent down, picked up the envelope, and immediately recognized my parents' handwriting. My hands began shaking before I even opened it. Inside was the same invitation, addressed to my sister. Not to me. I sat down on the cold kitchen floor, staring at the empty space where my name should have been. "They forgot me," I whispered aloud, but something inside me corrected that thought instantly. "No," I said, my voice trembling. "They chose not to include me. I called my sister first." "Why did I find out about Mom and Dad's anniversary through social media?" I asked, trying to sound calm. There was a pause, a carefully measured one. "Oh," she said lightly, "I thought you knew." "I did not," I replied. "Why was the invitation sent to you and not to me?" "Victoria," she sighed, "you always make things so dramatic." "Answer the question," I said, my voice breaking. "It is just a small family event," she replied. "You live far. You are always busy." "It did not feel necessary." "Not necessary," I repeated. "I am their daughter." "You are sensitive," she said sharply. "This is not about you." I hung up before my tears could turn into sobs. "I called my mother next." "Mom," I said, my voice barely steady. "Why was I not invited?" "Oh, sweetheart," she said gently, "we assumed your sister would tell you. You mailed her an invitation." I replied, "You did not mail one to me." Silence followed. "Victoria," she finally said, "we did not think you would come. You did not give me the chance." I said, "We did what felt easiest." She replied quietly, "Easiest." That word echoed in my mind as memories flooded back. Birthday dinners where my opinions were corrected. Family photos where I stood slightly outside the frame. Holidays where my presence felt tolerated instead of welcomed. I stared at the framed childhood photograph on my shelf. I remembered saying, "Do I look okay here?" and hearing my sister respond, "Stand still. You are ruining it." I remembered my father saying, "Let your sister speak, she knows better." I remembered learning how to shrink myself without anyone ever asking me to. That night, my brother-in-law texted me. "Hey," he wrote, "did you get the invite?" "Yes," I replied. "It was not meant for me." Another pause. "I thought you knew," he said. "Everyone discussed it." "Everyone," I typed. "I did not mean it like that," he responded. "I thought you were okay with it." I set the phone down and let the tears fall freely. I was not forgotten. I was excluded. I held the invitation in my hands, the edges pressing into my skin, and whispered through my tears, "I was never invisible. You just decided not to see me." And in that moment, sitting alone on my apartment floor, I realized something devastating and clarifying at the same time. My family never lost me. I did not attend the celebration, but the silence that followed felt louder than any rejection I had ever known. 2 days after the invitation incident, my sister finally called again. "Are you still upset?" she asked, as if emotions expired with time. "I am not upset," I replied slowly. "I am hurt. There is a difference," she said dismissively. "You always turn things into something bigger than they are." "Being excluded from my parents' anniversary is already big," I said. "I did not create that." She laughed softly. "You are reading too much into it." "Victoria, it was a simple oversight." an oversight that involved printing invitations. I replied, mailing them, discussing seating, planning photographs. You are so emotional. She said, that is why people hesitate around you. Those words pressed into my chest. So now my feelings explain your decision, I asked. You live far away, she continued. You are distant, you barely visit. You cannot expect people to plan around you. You never asked if I wanted to come, I said. You decided for me. Well, she replied, someone had to. I ended the call with shaking hands and a burning sense of shame. That evening, my father called. Your mother is very upset, he said. She feels like you are punishing her with silence. I am not punishing anyone, I replied. I am protecting myself. You are being dramatic, he said gently, which somehow hurt more than anger. Your sister meant no harm, then why does this hurt so much? I asked. He did not answer. The next day, I ran into Linda, a long-time family friend, at the grocery store. She smiled warmly and said, I expected to see you at the anniversary. My stomach tightened. I was not invited, I said quietly. Her smile faded. Oh, she replied slowly. I thought you chose not to come. Why would you think that? I asked. Well, she hesitated. Your sister mentioned that everyone agreed it would be less complicated without you. The word struck like a physical blow. Everyone, I asked. Linda's eyes widened. I did not mean it like that, she said quickly. I assumed you were okay with it. I was never asked, I replied. That night I cried on my bathroom floor until my chest hurt and my throat burned. I whispered questions into the silence. What is wrong with me? Why am I always the one left out? Why do I still want their approval? I replayed every conversation, every moment where I tried to be smaller, quieter, easier. I remembered asking my mother once, do you need help? And hearing, your sister already handled it. I remembered telling my father, I feel invisible, and hearing, you are imagining things. I called my best friend Hannah close to midnight. I feel unwanted, I told her through tears. You are not unwanted, she replied firmly. You are being controlled. That sounds dramatic. I said weakly. No, she said. They decide when you matter and when you do not. That is not love. Her words settled slowly, painfully. Truthfully, over the next few days, messages trickled in. You are being too sensitive. This is not the hill to die on. Why can you not just let it go? Each sentence carried the same message. Your pain is inconvenient. I stopped responding. The quiet was terrifying at first. I kept expecting someone to fight for me, to notice my absence, to ask if I was okay. No one did. And that realization cracked something open inside me. I sat alone one evening, staring at my phone, and whispered, I have been begging people who benefit from my silence. For the first time, I allowed myself to consider a frightening possibility. The problem was never my worth. The problem was their need to control who deserved space, voice, and love. I was still broken, still aching, still questioning, but beneath the grief, something unfamiliar began to form, awareness, and it refused to stay quiet. The morning of my parents' anniversary arrived quietly, without ceremony, without notification, without my presence. My phone buzzed repeatedly on the kitchen counter. You are really not coming? My mother texted. I stared at the screen for a long moment before replying. I was never invited, I typed. I am simply respecting the decision that was already made for me. A few minutes later, my sister called. So this is how you are handling it? She asked sharply. I am handling it privately, I replied. Without humiliation. You are making us look bad, she said. People will ask questions. They should, I answered calmly. You are being childish. She snapped. No, I said, surprising myself with my steadiness. I am being done explaining myself. I ended the call and sat in silence, feeling something unfamiliar settle into my chest. Relief. Later that afternoon, I met Hannah for coffee. You look lighter, she observed, studying my face. I feel terrified, I admitted, but I also feel free. You chose yourself, she said. That always feels dangerous at first. I keep wondering if I should have said more, I confessed. If silence makes me weak. Silence can be powerful, she replied, especially when people expect you to beg. That sentence stayed with me that week. I stopped reaching out. I stopped checking messages compulsively. I stopped rehearsing conversations that never led anywhere. I changed my routines. I began walking in the evenings instead of waiting by my phone. I cooked meals slowly, deliberately. Without rushing, I rearranged my apartment, removing family photographs that no longer felt safe to look at. One afternoon, I met with Dr. Elaine, a mentor I trusted deeply. I feel guilty, I told her, for stepping back. Who taught you that boundaries were cruelty? She asked gently. My family, I replied immediately. She nodded. That is emotional conditioning, Victoria, not truth, so I am not heartless. I asked quietly. You are healing, she said. People who benefit from your silence will always resist your growth. That same evening, my cousin Mark texted me. Why were you not at the anniversary? He asked. I was excluded. I replied simply, that is not what your sister said. He responded, what did she say? I asked, that you chose not to attend because you are difficult. He wrote, I closed my eyes. That is not true, I replied, and you know it. There was a long pause. She has been saying things like that for years. He finally admitted, I just never questioned them. More messages followed over the next few days. I thought you were busy. I was told you did not want to come. I assumed you distanced yourself on purpose. Each message peeled away another layer of truth. She had been speaking for me, controlling the narrative, deciding how others perceived my absence. I did not respond with anger. I responded with clarity. I was never asked. I told them I was never included. The shift was subtle but undeniable. Questions replaced assumptions. Doubt replaced certainty. And my silence, once dismissed, became impossible to ignore. Then, late one evening, my phone buzzed again. It was my sister. You embarrass me, she wrote. People are asking uncomfortable questions. I read the message twice before responding. I did not embarrass you. I typed slowly. Your choices did. This was never meant to hurt you. She replied, and yet it did. I answered repeatedly. She did not respond. I set the phone down and felt something settle firmly inside me. Power. Not loud, not cruel, not vengeful, just steady. For the first time, I was not shrinking to preserve peace. I was standing still and allowing truth to do its work. That night, another message appeared on my screen. We need to talk, my mother wrote. The words carried urgency. Discomfort. A shift I had never seen before. I stared at the message, my heart pounding, and whispered to myself. My silence finally reached where my words never could, and I knew, without doubt, that nothing would ever return to the way it once was. I agreed to meet my parents 1 week after the anniversary, not because I owed them anything, but because I needed closure that silence alone could not complete. My mother spoke first the moment I sat down. We need to talk, she said, folding her hands tightly. Things have become uncomfortable. Uncomfortable for whom? I asked calmly. For everyone, she replied. People noticed your absence. I noticed it first, I said. I noticed it when my invitation never arrived. My sister crossed her arms. I already apologized, she said defensively. You apologized for how it looked. I replied, not for what you did. That is not fair, she said sharply. What is not fair? I answered slowly, is deciding my place without my voice. My father cleared his throat. Your sister was trying to manage things smoothly. Smoothly for whom? I asked. Not for me. My sister looked away. You always make everything heavy, she said. No. I replied, you just preferred me quiet. The room went still. My mother whispered, we did not think you would feel this deeply. That sentence, I said softly, is the problem. My sister finally looked at me. You have always been sensitive, she said, and you have always used that word to dismiss me. I replied. She sighed. I did not mean to hurt you, but you benefited from my exclusion, I said. You controlled the narrative. You spoke for me, you erased me. That is not true, she said quickly. Then why did so many people believe I chose not to come? I asked. Silence answered me. My father looked down. We trusted your sister's judgment, and you never questioned it, I replied. Not once. My mother's voice cracked. We did not realize how much power we gave her. I did, I said quietly. I felt it my entire life. My sister's voice softened. I thought I was protecting the family. You were protecting your position, I replied. There is a difference. Her eyes filled with tears. I did not think it would come to this. It came to this the moment you decided my presence was optional, I said for the first time. No one interrupted me. I spent years shrinking so you would feel comfortable. I continued. I apologized for emotions I was allowed to have. I accepted being overlooked because I thought love required silence. My mother reached for my hand. We are sorry, she said. I believe you are uncomfortable. I replied gently. But I am no longer responsible for fixing that. My sister whispered, what do you want from us? I thought carefully before answering. I want my name back, I said, not as a role, not as a problem, as a person. My father nodded slowly. We failed you. Yes, I said, you did. The truth hung heavy, undeniable, and finally spoken. I stood up, feeling steady. I am not asking for permission anymore, I continued. I will not beg for inclusion. I will not compete for acknowledgement. My sister looked frightened. Are you cutting us off? I am stepping back, I replied. There is a difference. My mother whispered, will things ever be the same? No, I said honestly. But they can be healthier. As I walked away, my sister said quietly. I did not know I was losing control. I turned once and replied, you never had control over me, you only had my silence. That night, I returned to my apartment and removed the last photograph that made me feel small. I placed it in a drawer, not with anger but with finality. I looked at my reflection and spoke aloud. My name is Victoria, not the difficult one, not the sensitive one. Not the invisible one. I was the one who survived emotional erasure and chose truth over comfort. Exclusion did not destroy me. It saved me. Because the moment they stopped seeing me was the moment I finally saw myself, and I never disappeared again.